Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Vore podcast on the JV Podcast Network. Very entertaining show for you guys today. But with that being said, it does start a little heavy on the heart as the Cavalier family lost a great member in Fred McLeod, our play-by-play announcer, this past Monday evening. And Fred meant so much to me and so much to Cavalier fans everywhere. So I want to give him a proper tribute. So I'm going to do a tribute for him to start off this episode. And then get ready because my good friend Kaely Kautz is joining me. And we are going to watch, or we have watched, Week 6, Part 1 of Bachelor in Paradise. And we are going to break down that episode and talk about it with you guys. And then as always, starting this up, I'm going to continue it. Started it last week, going to wrap up with my complaint of the week. So let's get ready for this episode. Listen to some smooth jazz and get ready for the Fred McLeod tribute. Okay, so before I dive too deep into this, just a quick background. If you don't know who Fred McLeod was, he was the Cavaliers play-by-play announcer alongside Austin Carr, Mr. Cavalier, since the 2006-2007 season. He was born in Strongsville, Ohio, and really just a true Clevelander, a Cavs fan at heart. And, you hear people talk and, he made his way back home in his broadcasting career. So it was a big deal for him to be home and especially be calling Cavalier games the years that he did, because really years and years, when we look back on this, these are going to be the glory days. These are going to be the peak of the peak for the Cavaliers franchise history and really Cleveland sports altogether. So, why does his passing, why does Fred McLeod mean so much to me? Well, first off, Fred McLeod was the first media member, the first broadcaster that I was really drawn to, that had an influence on me. Fred McLeod is the sole reason, and now there have been other people along the way who I admire and who I would, love to meet and be like someday, but guy number one, patient zero for me wanting to get into sports and sports media, it's Fred McLeod. And when he took over in 2006, 2007, I was at a point in my life, I believe I was in third grade, when I was old enough now and, I had been watching the Cavs, but that's when I could really, sit there and really understand what was all going on. And I'm starting to remember the players and, I'm just really, really into it because it was easy. We had LeBron James and the team was good. And it was like, wow, I want to be him. So when Fred took over in 2006, 2007, he made me want to do his job. I remember playing NBA 2K in my basement all by myself and literally muting the TV and announce the game like I was Fred McLeod and Austin Carr. I'd be going back and forth. I'd be playing both parts, just, seeing if I could do it and totally just stealing their catchphrases and, doing things with the players on the court so I could, reenact some of my favorite calls. And it'd be always so funny because my dad would come down and I'd be so into it, right? And my dad would come down. I had no idea he's standing behind me. He probably at times stood behind me and I had no idea for minutes at a time. And then eventually when there was a little break in the action or whatever, it'd be like, who are you talking to? And I would jump. I'm really jumpy. I'd get scared and be like, oh, nothing. I had no idea what to say. I was so embarrassed, but at the same time, I couldn't stop it. I was so into it. And I don't play video games that much anymore, but still when I play NBA 2K, it'll come out. And wow, it just really sucks to have him on because there's just so many great memories. I actually met Fred McLeod once. I was at NBA Summer League in Las Vegas in the summer of 2017, and I was walking up to the bathroom from our seats, and he's walking down, and I ran into him, and I noticed him, and I was just like starstruck. Most people wouldn't be starstruck by a regional broadcast announcer for a basketball team, especially in Cleveland, right? Small market. But I was. I was absolutely starstruck. I just like jumped. I didn't know what to say, but I knew I needed to say something. I wanted to meet this guy. This guy is my freaking idol, right? And my hero. And I just went, Fred McLeod. And he just like looked up at me, and I shook his hand. I'm like, oh, so nice to meet you, Mr. McLeod. My our family, we have Cavs season tickets, and just a huge fan of you. Been a Cavs fan my entire life. And he just goes, oh, that's great, man. Nice to meet you. He goes, what's your name? And I'm like, oh my God, I am 19 years old, and I am totally so starstruck by this guy that I do everything that you're supposed to do when you introduce yourself to someone, look them in the eye, shake their hand. But what didn't I do? Say my freaking name in that moment. I've never been in a situation like that, and I've met some cool people where I just flat out forgot how to properly introduce myself to someone. You would think it's in that moment I forgot my name. I kind of lost control a little bit, and still to this day, I've never had an experience like that. But that just made me realize more and more just, how much I appreciated and looked up to this guy. He was just magic on the air, calling play-by-play along with Austin Carr, a true professional and a tireless worker. I mean, for a guy that well liked and that successful, you would always see him when I'm watching the pregame stuff, or the little sound bites from practice. He's there at practice, and obviously the broadcast team travels on the road. He's there early in the morning for shoot around. Even though they just got in at 3 a.m. And crossed 3 time zones or whatever it is, and he's there at shoot around. And he's in the locker room after the game. Stuff that he probably didn't have to do, especially at this point in his career, but he did. And that just makes him a greater role model for what I want to do in life, in this industry. And really what makes this so hard for myself, and I feel like Cavs fans everywhere, is, now this is going to sound crazy because I've only met him once, but this is like losing a close friend. Maybe even a family member. And it's like I'm losing a significant piece of my childhood and into my adulthood and through my maturing ages, because, I think about it. It's like when LeBron left. I mean, obviously he's still playing basketball, but all my life, the reason I got into sports was because of, watching LeBron. It was easy to be a fan, right? And when he left the first time, it's like all those memories, and now it becomes so nostalgic. Then he comes back, and then he leaves again, and it's like, yeah, I kind of got to move on now. Like, that point of my life is over now, where I could tune in, and this goes the same for Fred. I could tune in to a Tuesday night game in February, a game against the Jazz where it doesn't mean a damn thing. But I feel like a kid again for those 2.5 hours because I'm watching LeBron James and I'm listening to Fred McLeod. And that's so real, and I feel like that's the same for a lot of people, not only people my age, but people that are older as well. I mean, since 2006, 2007, this guy was in living rooms, through the winter almost every single night when he was on the call for the Cavs. And, I'll never forget some of his famous calls, and it's so funny because these resonated. These really were his signatures, because I remember, whether I'm with friends watching a game or we're texting it to each other because we're not together, we're, texting each other when it's at the end of a game and, things get nervous and, you always hear Fred and he always says it, sweaty palms time, here we go. It's crunch time, it's sweaty palms time, so when a game is close, I'll text one of my buddies like, hey, here we go, sweaty palms time, let's get ready for this. LeBron being from Akron, when, he gets a rebound and goes coast to coast, he's burning Akron rubber, right down Euclid where someone splits the lane right down the middle for an easy 2. When LeBron would make threes, he would say from 3-0, like 3-pointers, and then the area code for Akron is 330. So that was pretty creative from Fred there. A wine and gold winner, that's another one that's so iconic. Sweaty palms time, 20,562, which is the Cavs arena, the Q, now Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. That's the capacity. I love when someone falls over or trips. He blew a tire, or someone shoots an air ball, threw up a medicine ball. I always loved too when the Cavs, they would have a pesky win, a win that they didn't deserve to have, but they stole it from someone. It's good night, insert the city. Don't worry, we'll let ourselves out. Good night, Chicago. We'll let ourselves out. That's just something that I'll never forget, and it's gonna suck. It absolutely sucks. Like, we're gonna miss out on that, and it's so much more than a selfish reason. Oh, this is entertaining. Now it's not going to be as entertaining anymore. No. That's not what it is. It's just the influence he had on me and just everyone out. And I'm building up to the Game 7 call. Obviously, you know what I'm talking about. But another one of my favorite ones. It was a round 1 game in 2017 against the Pacers at home. Game 2. Kevin Love is absolutely wearing down Deshaun Stevenson. There was a 3-minute stretch in that game where Kevin Love just took over. I'm talking going to work on the block, getting to the foul line, taking a charge on defense. He was doing everything. And he's just absolutely wearing out Lance Stevenson. And if you know anything about Lance Stevenson, he's sort of a crowd favorite / enemy in Cleveland. Sort of a crowd favorite because you're never really worried about him beating you. But he's a guy that's, very animated, and you can really, there's a lot of sarcastic cheering and some extra loud cheering when he gets a foul or turns the ball over or whatever it is. And Kevin Love just wears him out again, gets to the foul line for like the 3rd time, and Fred just goes, and he's just going crazy, right? And the Q's going crazy, and he's just like, his nickname is Born Ready, but apparently he was born yesterday. And I just remember cracking up. It was so good, so funny. That's just how good Fred was. And obviously this is all leading up to the Game 7 call. Obviously it wasn't broadcasted on TV, but him and AC were in Oracle that night on June 19th, 2016, when the Cavaliers came back from 3-1 and won the NBA championship. And just his emotion, like I said, true professional, right? But at the end of the day, and in his heart, he's a fan. And the way that he broke down on air and was just overcome with it, and how he just let it happen, it was so pure, it was so genuine, and really what it was super relatable. I remember crying. So many other people cried. And, you have influence and you're a big deal. You look out on Twitter, everyone reaching out and tweeting. You saw Dwayne Wade, who spent very little time with the Cavs. Obviously, Kevin Love, who's still with the Cavs. LeBron sent out a few tweets and even quote tweeted that call from Fred at Game 7. And LeBron talked about, just how much it meant and how it'll never be forgotten and how it was one of the best days of all of our lives. And when he's saying he's talking about everyone that's a Cavs fan or has ties or lives in Northeast Ohio. It was just so freaking relatable, and so, we just got it because he's one of us, and he always will be. So what a career for Fred McLeod. Cut way too short, 67 years old. I didn't even know he was that old because he was just that good, just that energetic, bringing it every single night. Now, I do have to bust Fred's chops here because let's look at his career. So like I said, 06-07 on with the Cavs. That's 13 years with Cleveland. He called and sat courtside every single night for the 5 best teams in Cavaliers history. The Cavs have been to the NBA Finals 5 times. Fred called his first season. They went to the finals. And then the 4 years with LeBron, the second time around, Fred was there. He witnessed 8 of LeBron's 11 years in Cleveland as a part of Fox Sports Ohio. And then before that, he was the Pistons play-by-play from 1984 to 2006. And if those years don't mean anything to you or you don't know basketball, so 1989 was the Bad Boys Pistons. The Pistons have won 3 NBA championships, 1989, 1990, and 2004. Rewind and listen to the years that I said Fred was there. He was there for all those. He saw the Bad Boy Pistons, Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, Dennis Rodman, all of those guys, right? And then he gets the early 2000s, mid-2010s, Rip Hamilton, Chauncey Billups, Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, just absolutely incredible. So that's my Fred McLeod tribute. That's why he means so much to me and why he means so much to the Cavalier family everywhere. Fred, you're truly going to be missed. Cavs basketball will absolutely never, ever be the same. Man, it just sucks. It really does. It's not gonna be the same. It's gonna take a lot getting used to, and I don't think we ever will get used to. No matter how good the new guy is, there never will be another Fred McLeod. There will never be another duo that I love listening to as much as Fred McLeod and Austin Carr. So say a prayer for Fred and his family and everyone that was close to him and hurting from this, because there's a lot of people, even if they've never met him, or even if they've met him once, like I have, it was a very sad and emotional day, and it still is. This is tough, really tough for me to talk about. So that's what I have to say about Fred McLeod. Fred, I know you won't hear this, but truly, thank you. So, yeah, thank you, Fred McLeod. All right, so that's enough of that. Let's talk Bachelor in Paradise. Okay, Kaely, so welcome. What do you think of the studio?
I definitely think it's really messy.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't like it.
Right. Well, that's what you're here for. This is actually, I brought you over to talk about Bachelor in Paradise, but really this is just like a home makeover. You're here to help me.
I would add some color first. It's a lot of gray and black, which I don't like. My room is very like dusty rose, so it's super cute, bohemian,
Yeah, that's your thing.
It is.
So before we get into Bachelor in Paradise, you have a very, very popular, I assume, a very, it's just an awesome private Snap story. Just Kaely things. It's a hashtag. It's actively trending. So I picked up a few topics over the last week or so. I have it right here on my note card. I was just writing some things down. So let's start off. We were talking about your recent dating, your romantic life here. So this guy from Harvard.
Uh-huh.
Do you call him Harvard to me? Do you know his name? Do you just call him Harvard? Does he have a name?
He has a name, but it's also the name of my ex. So I tried changing his name to just like a totally separate name, and then I started thinking that was his real name.
Okay.
So he has a few names.
Okay. We'll just call him Harvard for these purposes. So how's that going?
I think it's going good. I don't really know because we don't talk a whole lot.
Okay.
But I like that because I'm really bad at like texting.
Mm-hmm.
But also I don't know because I've only been with him sober twice.
Only sober twice?
Mm-hmm.
How many times intoxicated?
3, and then I guess I called him too and tried Venmoing him to go to Old Town with me.
So like that's your thing. Like when you get drunk, why do you Venmo people?
I think because I think that I'm like a big baller when like I'm actually not in
college.
You're
not. No.
And I think I was just trying to flex on him. I'm like, you went to Harvard? Well, I have $30 I can throw away.
Oh. Okay, I like that. So that's a power move on your part.
It is.
Speaking of being a big baller, you have a big girl job now. You went from intern, assistant, right?
To coordinator.
Part-time, and now, but see, I feel like this is a bad move on your part. Now it's great. You have this full-time position, but you're graduating in December.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you, like, I feel like knowing you for the time that I have, like, I can't believe you aren't just enjoying this last semester and finishing out part-time and then go full-time once the semester is over.
Well, 2 things. I first was scared that they would be like, oh, well, we're going to hire this person because they could start now and then I'm not going to have a job when I graduate. So that was one reason why I took it. Another reason, I've been in this weird little party mood lately. Yeah. So obviously going out on work nights has not been an issue for me. And if I have to throw up a few times, that's fine.
Yeah, that's right. You're just going to get through it.
Yeah.
You're like,
I want to rally.
Yeah, I'm going to have fun in the moment, and then we'll just figure it out in the morning.
Later, yeah.
Yeah, we'll just figure it out in the morning. You had an interesting dream and I wrote this down. Normally this would just kind of go over my head, but I had a very, not a similar dream, but a similar reaction to what happened in my dream. So you have some tattoos,
Yeah.
and you were like crying in the dream and woke up crying because like what happened with your tattoos?
Okay, so I forgot that I had obviously given them to myself. I went to a tattoo like parlor and
Yeah.
was like, I want these. But in my dream, I thought I got branded, and one of them is a K. And I was just like, oh my god. And so I woke up crying and I saw it and I was like, I'm literally branded. And I didn't like exactly remember that I purposely put that on my body.
Right.
And yeah, so I thought I got branded.
Yeah, mine was, it was like really sad, but it was like a happy sad. It was a combination of, I just think it was like a total combination of the stuff I saw on Twitter that day. My dream was like a mix of military homecomings, kids sticking up for other kids who are like being bullied, and then it like all came together with like a teacher doing something really nice for a student. And like I just woke up and I was just like cry. I don't know what was going on. Like that was, I've had dreams like that before. Like they happen sporadically, like where you wake up with the emotion that you had in the dream.
Oh, I will have dreams where like someone like does me dirty and then I get so mad at them that whole next day and they're like, Kaely,
Yeah.
why are you mad? I'm like, well, because you did this to me in my dream and I'm like not over it yet, and I literally will carry that negative emotion
Sometimes
on.
I've had stuff happen where it's like the middle of the day and it comes back to me and I'm like, did that actually happen? Because it's like so real.
Yeah.
And especially when it's like real people in your life.
I've been having those about work. Literally all the time, and I don't know why. And my boss actually had one. She graduated a few years ago, but she woke up one morning and was freaking out because she thought she still had homework. And
No
then
way.
she was like, wait, I've been graduated for like 5 years. Like, I don't have homework.
Have you ever had a dream where like you maybe can't remember what was said, but you wake up laughing?
No.
I've had 2 of those, and like I can't remember what was said in the dream, and I never like fully like woke up, but you know how like as you're starting to wake, like you're half awake and you can kind of like realize what's going on, or you kind of like hear things that are going on around you.
Uh-huh.
Like I had that, and I was like it's like cracking up. It was like chuckling, like you know when you hear a joke and
Yeah.
you know like you're not in the environment to be laughing, so you're trying to hold it in.
Yeah.
And you kind of let out a couple laughs, you hold it in, and then it just like really picks up.
Yeah.
Like that has been my experience, and I don't know why I think I can't laugh. I'm in
Maybe
my
you-
own room.
Maybe you sleep talk, and it's just like a little
I've
extension
never been a
of that.
sleep talker though.
But you're asleep, so how do you actually like know?
Right, but it would make sense because I'm really funny, so I'm making myself laugh. So I guess that does make sense now.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Week 6, part 1, Bachelor in Paradise. It starts off. Dean is back.
Mm-hmm.
Dean still has the long hair, but he took a big step.
And he shaved his mustache.
Shaved the mustache.
The
And
love of my life.
let me say, from a guy that had a mustache at one point, it was a special occasion. I didn't just have a mustache, just to have a
God,
mustache.
I hope not.
It's very tough to move on from it. Like, this is a bigger deal than people realize for Dean to shave his mustache.
I think it was a very significant turning point in him and Kaylin's relationship, because it kind of just showed him like evolving and maturing and wanting to like settle down.
It was symbolic. It was a
It
deeper
was.
meaning than just shaving a mustache. It was
Yeah.
like, Kaylin, like he even said it. Every time someone gets close to me, I just want to run away. I'm afraid of opening up, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He comes back, shaves the mustache. It's symbolic. He's like, listen, I'm not going to be perfect. Like, I have a ton of work on. Like, obviously we have to work together, but it's like 90% me.
Yeah.
Like 99% me. But like, I'm willing to do that with you. Like, I want to, like, let's give ourselves a fighting chance here.
Yeah.
So then Kaylin's been emotional since we saw her on Colton's season.
Very true.
So then after Dean basically gave her an ultimatum. He's like, I'm back for you. I'm either leaving with you or I'm leaving without you. I'm not back to pursue anything else.
Mm-hmm.
This is all or nothing you. I'm all in on you. If not, it sucks. I'm leaving anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since Dean left, broke her heart on her birthday, all of that stuff, her and Connor were really hitting it off.
Yeah.
And now Kaylin's been put in this position. She has an ultimatum. This is very Michael Scott versus Holly when she comes back. That's exactly what was going through my head. And now she has to make a really, well, I don't know. Is it a tough decision? Like, in your head, do you think that's a tough decision?
I think it is, because I think that, like, if I were in her shoes, I would be, like, very torn, because I feel like Connor is very safe.
Yes.
And treats her well and is very transparent about, like, how he feels. And then Dean is, like, a little bit more of a wild card.
Right.
But then Kaylin's always like, oh, I like to challenge myself.
Right.
And I'm like, that's not challenging yourself. That's kind of being stupid.
It's kind of being really stupid.
But also, like, I get it.
Right. Yeah, yeah, it is a tough decision. It's weird. And although it may be, I don't know exactly what the timeline was, but maybe she knew Dean for what? Maybe somewhere between 2 and 3 weeks longer than Connor. And although, like, that's an eternity in paradise time, in paradise years, right?
Yeah.
So, like, although it may be not that longer, like, Dean was still the first connection that she had. And, even it's Connor's safer, like you said, 100%. They hit it off well, but Dean has, like, at the end of the day, he just has that leg up. And she really can't explain it, but, like, it's obviously very, very clear that Dean has the sort of emotional, like, psychological advantage there.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I just think she doesn't think.
No, she doesn't. Absolutely not. So Connor's frustrated, and when he was talking to her, like, he could have just trashed Dean, and some people will think that he was trashing Dean, but he was really making great points. He was calm.
He was being respectful and mature about it.
He was. But then the frustration started to increase because he realized, like, oh my God, this actually feels like I'm not going to end up with Kaylin here.
Yeah.
And then once, like, he felt that, like, you could just see, like, his frustration start to rise, and that's when he got, like, pissed. Like, he's like, I can't believe he's going to go with this guy. Like, this is ridiculous. And that ultimately leads up to Kaylin choosing Dean.
And making out with him in front of Connor.
Yes.
I think that's so disrespectful.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know, they're in the moment.
Yeah, but she also, like, didn't tell Connor that she's going with Dean.
That's right. Yeah, she talked to him after. It's like, oh, I have to watch this girl that I just had literally minutes ago.
Yeah.
Make out. So my fate has already been. I already know what she's gonna come over and say, and then you still have to, like, listen to her.
Yeah.
That's brutal. God.
If I were Connor, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, don't even talk to me right now.
Oh yeah, he's super mad. So, and then we were talking as we were watching this earlier tonight. As they're driving away, and she's just, like, cuddled up in his arms, and she's just looking out the window. There's no way she wasn't like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
Well,
oh shit.
yeah, because he's like, the nice part about living in a van is you can just drive and then go take a nap in your bedroom.
Yeah. It's like driving in your bedroom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's crazy. So they leave. They're gone. Happily ever after. We'll see how it's. We'll be following closely on social media. So now Chris has a date card. So him and Katie go out on the date. The date goes really well, but it really started off like they had been good for a while, and then she's like, I feel like you're throwing up these walls. But we were actually pretty pissed because it went so well. We're like, where's the drama here?
Yeah.
Like, Kaylin and Dean, they're gone. No more drama there. Like, Connor's gonna get over it, right? Another girl's gonna come in. And then this date looks like we're gonna have some fireworks here, but it was really just kind of lame. It went too well.
It was very, like, anticlimactic.
Yeah. God. And then, so now, Connor starts to break down a little bit. It's really starting to hit him. He's probably had somewhere between a mojito or 10, and it's by the end of the day. And Blake comes over, and I think the only reason Blake came over is because Blake is just kind of, like, all over the place emotionally. I think he just needed a cry. So
and he wanted an excuse.
Yeah, so he was just, like, crying with Connor, which really didn't make any sense. And he's just like, and then Blake even, like, you could hear it in his voice. He's like, it's just so messed up, man.
Yeah.
It's just so messed up. It's like,
Jesus. Well, this didn't happen to you.
It's like, Jesus, man, get a hold of yourself. Like,
yeah.
What's going on? And then Ravine, Ravina.
I don't even know her real name.
No, we're just gonna call her Rev. It's okay because Matt Donald doesn't know her, can't say her name either. So Rev comes in. She has a date card, obviously, and she picks Connor. Makes a lot of sense there, right? So their date, I mean, it went well, but I mean, we'll see how it progresses. I don't think it was like
sparks.
Yeah, no, it went well, but maybe that's sort of good.
I think he needed it.
Yeah,
for sure.
It was a good pickup, but we see sparks turn into just a nosedive pretty quick in Paradise. So maybe if they're more gradual, and they start off a little bit slower, maybe that actually will work to their favor.
I don't know, something about her.
Yeah, no.
I just don't think they click.
No, 100%. And I'm not saying just because sparks didn't fly and it's going to be gradual that it's actually going to work out. Like, I don't know. I'm just looking at it of, I'm wanting something to work out for Connor because I like him. I know that we like him, so I'm just trying to look best case scenario here. But I agree, it doesn't seem like it's gonna really take off. I think it's gonna kind of flatline here for them, unfortunately. But you know what? I think that's good. I think it's better to have that happen and figure it out than take it to the outside when it's rushed, or it really shouldn't be a relationship that lasts past Paradise. So now we have some drama with Demi and Christian.
Yeah.
Christian's very affectionate, very flirty, not shameful at all about PDA or anything. And I don't want to speak out of terms here, but it just seems like, and I really don't know her background, but at least compared to Demi obviously recently came out, right? And I think, Demi's not a huge PDA person, even when, we saw her on, I don't know that, because I feel like when she was with Colton, she was super aggressive and always all over him, and she was also all over Derek, right?
Yeah.
In Paradise. I just feel like
I think it's a comfort thing.
I think so too.
The norm and
yes.
air quotes. But
I just feel like Christian has my assumption is that she's been out longer, and she's been, and like you said, she's just more comfortable with this, and Demi's still getting used to it.
No, I definitely agree, but also if I were Demi, just seeing Christian do that with other girls, I think I too might take it in the wrong way, even if it is strictly platonic.
100%.
It would still bother me, especially since Christian was mean to Demi about her and JPJ.
Yes. Yeah, that would throw me off, and just the way Demi was, and I love Demi. We love Demi, and but when they went on their date, they seemed to have really worked it out. Their date was kind of odd though. So they were doing this ceremony thing I'm like, okay, this is great. This is gonna be cool. But then they're speaking in this. They're not speaking English. There's no subtitles. They literally could just be speaking nonsense and just hateful whatever towards them. They could have
cursed them.
Yeah.
They
could be under a curse. It literally reminded me of that Scooby-Doo movie when they go to that island. Have you ever seen that? The Spooky Island or whatever it is.
The amusement park one?
Yes, that one. Yeah. I'm like, something is bad going on here.
Yeah.
Some bad juju. And then Christian was like, oh my God, I just love it so much. It's just very, very spiritual, which I love. I'm like, you have no idea what the hell they're saying.
Yeah.
Come on, Christian. Whatever. Okay, now this is your favorite part of the episode.
Oh, I'm gonna cry.
Open up the floor for you. Tell us everything about the John Paul Jones and Tayshia Paradise Prom.
So Tayshia has never been to prom, and
you relate to this.
I relate because I went to prom once, my junior prom, but I didn't get asked, and I never got asked in high school to any dance because I guess I wasn't cool enough. Whatever. But JPJ asked her to Paradise Prom, and he put on a really cute suit, and she put on this super cute gown, and then he had a little cabana set up with wine and balloons, and then they were
the camera, they were doing the whole
It was literally so cute, and I wanted to cry. The only thing I didn't like about it was when everyone else joined them, because they all had proms and Tayshia didn't, so I just think that should have been her special moment.
And they weren't living up to the dress code.
No, they were not in dress code.
Like, this is
prom.
formal.
Like, it's not a joke.
Formal. This is not casual.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that was amazing. And I don't think, like, John Paul Jones unmistakably is himself at all times.
Oh, I love it.
In that whole 5-minute stretch, I don't think we've seen John Paul Jones be more John Paul Jones than we did. Like, he was really just himself,
authentic,
like,
real.
times infinity. It was awesome.
Oh, I love him. I love him.
Yeah, no, he was amazing. And then, of course, he goes spiraling down because Blake sort of has a crazy moment here. Fake date card.
Mm-hmm.
He gets this whole pad set up, rose petals, candles, champagne, everything, right? With Christina. And they're both crazy. I actually kind of think they, like, work out. Like,
they do, but I think their craziness just, like, butts heads.
Yeah. But I just, like, see them together because, like, I really don't, honestly, when she talks, I really don't listen to her that much. But just the way that she looks and carries herself, like, it's just kind of like a snake in the grass type of vibe to me.
No, she is 100% a snake.
My God. So then we learn on that date that...
she doesn't want to be with him.
Yes. And she's leaving paradise.
Mm-hmm.
And Blake, who was once in... did he have a triangle going? It was pretty close. He had some Hannah G action going on.
And who...
he had the friend Rose girl, whoever that...
that was Christina.
Oh, that was Christina, yeah. So we had that going on, and there could have been... there had to have been someone else.
It was with Dylan. The
yes.
triangle.
Yes. So we had that going on, and now to nothing, and Blake, the squid, has now left paradise.
Yeah. I feel like I might miss him a tiny bit, though, because it is entertaining.
He was.
Watching him freak out and make this huge deal out of honestly nothing.
Yes. Yeah, no, that was... yeah, so they're both gone.
I just feel like who's drama now in Paradise?
Right.
Like, there's no dramatic people left.
Right, because, like, Hannah G was dramatic for a while, but they've settled in. Like, we didn't even see her this episode. Like, we saw her in the intro.
Yeah.
And then we didn't see her ever since.
I think she hugged Demi before the date.
Right.
Like, that's it.
Yeah, and then Demi and Christian worked their stuff out. They seemed good.
Mm-hmm.
Tayshia and JPJ obviously super happy. Mm-hmm. But there did look like there's going to be some drama in this next episode.
Because they're changing the rules. Because there's nobody left that is going to make drama.
Right. Are they done bringing people in now, too? They got to be pretty close. Yeah, so it's either put up or shut up time.
Yeah, I think they're done.
Who do you think... do we have any potentials for couples that are going to get engaged in Paradise, do you think?
I think Hannah and Dylan for sure, because he's literally obsessed with her.
Yeah, he's obsessed with her.
Like, since day one. Like, he probably, like, brought a ring with him.
Yeah, and even though he's going to get whatever he has, it's going to be a much nicer ring.
Still, I'm sure he brought one.
Yeah, but going back early on to this, Dylan and Hannah G, I love Dylan. I think Dylan's so genuine. He's so pure. He's a great guy. Mm-hmm. And I loved Hannah G on Colton season. Like, I thought she was just delightful. Like, I love her. Like, she's beautiful. She's just seems so sweet. Has that, like, southern charm, right? Mm-hmm. And then I don't know if these were just more of her true colors or if some fame has gone to her head or whatever, or it's just Paradise. But, like, I wasn't really, like, about her in Paradise.
Oh, I was so annoyed.
I know, right?
I don't know how Dylan, like, stuck around. I would have been so over it.
Because my thing with Dylan was, I'm like, I hope she doesn't pick Dylan because she doesn't deserve Dylan.
Yeah.
Like, I was, like, I know it would have hurt Dylan in the moment, but I was just like, no, Dylan.
He
like,
deserves someone that is, like, 100% about him.
Yes, 100%. But credit to him, like you said, he stuck it out, and as of right now, as we sit here, we haven't seen part 2 yet.
Yeah.
But it's worked out.
I know, and they're really cute.
They are.
I really like them.
Damn, they are. So you think them? What about? Do you think there's going to be anything more from Demi and Christian? I don't see an engagement,
I don't think so.
But do you think there's going to be any, like, greater promise? Are they going to come even closer together? Do you think?
I don't know, know, from, like, the teaser for the second part, it looked like they were having a little bit of drama.
Right.
But I don't really know what it could be.
Right, we'll
honestly.
see. And then we saw, and it broke our hearts. We're, like, sick to our soul. We're honestly afraid to watch part 2 because...
I'm gonna cry during it.
There was some Tasia and JPJ action going on. We did not like to see.
I know.
And I'm so glad JPJ is kind of like recollected because remember when they had that wedding? Like
yeah,
I was
and
like
he was like freaking out. I was like
going
a little
off the
like
rails.
oh my god, like stop.
Like yeah, it was way too much.
Yeah.
And then he wouldn't shut up about Derek's freaking podcast.
I know.
I was like counting. I like ran out of fingers and toes and numbers to count.
Imagine if that was a drinking game. You would literally be like blacked in 5 minutes.
Yes, I would have died of alcohol poisoning if I took a shot every time he said podcast.
Yeah.
You just want to get the clout for your freaking podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, first off, that is offensive to podcasters. I'm a podcaster, John Paul Jones. That's very offensive to me.
He just
but
rubbed you the wrong way.
He did. I'm like, whoa, JPJ. Like, I would have loved to have you on the show, but maybe not anymore because you're just going to talk shit about my podcast, man. But, no. And then that wedding was so weird. Going back to that, Sydney. Okay, so first off, you know how only a certain amount of people got invited back to, like, the reception?
Yeah.
Everyone was at the ceremony, but only certain people got back to the reception. Now, Sydney has no previous relationship with them, right?
Yeah.
And remember, she was, like, bitching about how she was like, well, I'm interested. It was Clay, right?
No, wasn't it Mike?
I think it was. Yeah, because Mike was still around.
Because Clay has been with Nicole.
You're right.
Like a
Yes.
while.
Yes. The thing that happened with Clay there was his ex.
Angela.
Yes, that's what it was. Yes, so it was Mike. And she was just like, I'm interested in this guy. And now, only a certain amount of people of us get to go. I'm like, first off, the only reason you're at this ceremony, the only reason that this is that awesome is because you guys were on this stupid TV show. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you even went to the wedding, to the ceremony, to these people that you don't even know, like, why not in Mexico and it's beautiful? Yeah. Why don't you just be thankful for that instead of bitching about not being able to go to the reception? I'm just like, be thankful for that. Like, what do you think's worse? You not going to the reception because you don't know these people at all? Or me passing out invitations to my birthday party when I was 9 years old to my entire class, boys and girls, and no one showing up?
That happened.
What do you think's worse?
Did that happen? That's so
no, I'm just kidding.
Oh my god.
I had her, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my god. That would have been so sad.
Were you like, wait, what's going on right now?
I was very confused.
I was venting. He's like, wait, why did you bring up the wedding? That was like 2 weeks ago. And then I'm going on about no one coming to my birthday party. Like,
wait, did that actually happen?
No, it didn't happen.
Okay.
Most people showed up.
Okay.
It was fun.
My parents, this is probably why I never got invited to a dance, because clearly it was not cool. But
this is so
my
good.
parents tried throwing me a surprise Sweet 16 party, and I found out about it. And they invited the whole... I found, like, the cards or something, in my mom's, like, drawer. I don't know. But, they invited my whole class.
Right.
In high school.
Uh-huh.
And nobody came except, like, my close girls.
Okay.
But then I found out everyone was invited.
Yes, that's when it hurts.
And my mom ordered, like, literally 100 cupcakes, and I was just so embarrassed.
And in the moment, you're like, Mom, there's like, why'd you get so many cupcakes for 6 people?
Like, seriously, I was like, I'm not that cool. Like, I get that I'm your kid, and, like, you love me, but
Mom, you don't get
realistic.
it. But Mom, you don't get it. Like, you should just follow me to school one day.
I was not cool in high school. I really wasn't.
I think what it also has to do with is, so I think this is so funny when you were telling me this. So you did like competitive cheer, which is like super hard. You have to be in super good shape, like cardio, everything, right? And you had asthma or have asthma.
And I'd have to run with my inhaler.
Yes, yeah. So she was fine with you doing that, but you couldn't go and hang out at the bonfires.
I couldn't go to bonfires because it was gonna make my asthma bad. When I literally would have asthma attacks of running and cheer.
And then she wonders why you don't get asked to prom and people don't show up to your Sweet 16.
I know.
It's like, And it's
Sabotaging.
They're like,
That's what
Kaely,
it
isn't that
is.
the asthma girl who can't come to the fires?
Literally.
Who has to wear the mask?
No. There are times where she was like, Kaely, you should wear them. And I'm like, no.
Mom, stop it. It's social suicide.
It really is. And she would talk about my breathing machine. Like,
you just needed to like sit her down and like have her watch like Mean Girls?
She still is like, Kaely, don't forget your breathing machine. Don't. And I'm like, I have not had an asthma attack in years. Like, I have my inhaler with me still, but like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And she still wants me to
it's
bring
like
it everywhere.
It's like the people getting ready for like the apocalypse, or people who live in California getting ready for the big one, the big earthquake. It's just like, we haven't had it in years.
Yeah.
Like, calm down.
Yeah.
Like, there's no zombie apocalypse coming. But then when it does, there's going to be that person that's like, I told you so.
If it's my time, it's my time. I'm not going to argue with the universe on that.
Very good. Well, Kaely, this has been really fun.
Yeah.
I feel like we got a lot off our chest.
I know.
About people really not showing up to our birthday parties.
Talking about my asthma.
Yeah. And we got through. This is great therapy. That's also why I have this podcast.
That's true.
Yeah. So this was fun. We'll have to do it again.
It was amazing.
Terrific. Thank you, Kaely. Okay, so sorry, everyone. So I promised Kaely, I totally forgot, and I wanted to work it in and make it organic, right? Make it cool. But we're just going to have to come out and say it.
My heart is hurting.
So Kaely was talking about earlier tonight about just like dating troubles and just wanting
I just have really bad luck in general.
You want to find better guys. So I came up with this take, and I've been waiting to like give it out to the world. And I think this is a totally untapped market.
Oh, God.
I think what you need to do if you want to find better quality guys, right? And you're moving on, you're going to be graduating soon. We're going to be graduating soon.
Mm-hmm.
You want to find someone who has a good job. You want to see what people have to say about them. You need, and people, if they want to find better...
If it's like looking on LinkedIn, I already do that.
I think it's an untapped market. It doesn't get talked about. And even if you don't slide into the DMs on LinkedIn, like you find their name, right? And people have their first and last name, so you can find them on whatever social media you want to find them on. But you look there first and see what they do and see like what people have endorsed them for or what they've said about them. What company they work for.
The tricky thing about that
what's the tricky thing?
You have to be logged out or else it says Kaely viewed your profile.
But who cares, because it looks... but then they see they match up the name.
Exactly.
Okay.
But, so I already do that because guys...
Do you think guys think that's creepy for... I think it would be creepy, like, if you saw me doing that. But I feel like guys, they're just like, oh, cute girl, whatever.
On LinkedIn, though, I think that's so weird. And, like...
I would appreciate the hustle. Or maybe I'm just desperate.
But how would I even, like, find them? Like, search, like, good companies that have people that make a lot of money and then look at who, like, follows them? You
could look at certain companies that are around. But I feel like you can just search, like, you know how you get suggestions, like, on Instagram?
Yeah.
Like, there's definitely that in LinkedIn. Or maybe you just... Or maybe you can even, it's a good follow-up, right? If you meet someone while you're out or you come across it, like, let's say you see them on...
their LinkedIn.
But let's say you see them on Instagram first, and maybe they have a private profile before you want to give them the follow.
Instagram just doesn't even show me guys anymore. Like, it's all girls and, like, home decorations. Like, on my Explore feed.
You need to change up the algorithm.
I know. Well, that's why when I'm on dating apps, if I'm going on a date with them, I always like look up their LinkedIn first, but I do it on my work computer because like that's a different email, so it doesn't use like my LinkedIn one.
Can you get onto LinkedIn and look at some stuff without logging in though?
It's limited to what you can see, so you can see like their job and stuff.
But no real details.
I think it depends on their privacy settings.
Okay, so that's just no different than any other social media.
But I just like to make sure that their job is real.
Right.
Because I feel like I'm a very driven person, and I don't like being with people that I feel are not better than me. Yeah. Or at least that won't make you better. Like you want to be in a good, like I want them to be, like, equal or above. Right. So they have to have a better job than me. Right. And it has to be like a real one. And also I have expensive taste and I eventually don't want to work. So if I find the one, I need to make sure he's going to make a lot of money.
True. Because you have an expensive lifestyle.
I really do.
And you need it to be fulfilled.
100%. And I'm going to eventually stop working, so, like, they definitely need to make quite a few figures.
Right. But then, you know, you'll establish yourself. You'll make some money. You'll go on The Bachelor.
That's true.
Right. Make even more money when you come back. And then you find the one.
But that's, like, fun money. Like, that's, like, my spending money.
Yes. Entertainment dollars.
Yeah, I don't want to, like, pay for bills.
Yeah.
Or anything.
Yeah, like expenses. Like gas. What's that?
Honestly, I might just meet up with Dean and live in his van. Then I don't have to,
But
like...
Kaylin.
I don't really think that's gonna last.
So you're just gonna book it up to Yellowstone and hope he's there. Mm-hmm. And if he's not there, you'll go to the next national park, and then you'll check the ocean.
Grand Canyon, I've never been there.
Yeah, you might run into him there.
I might.
Yeah.
I don't know any other national parks.
Speaking of Dean and LinkedIn, I looked up Dean on LinkedIn once.
Okay.
Because, like, so when he was on, who was he on? Rachel's season. Mm-hmm. Like, I forget what it said his job was, but it seemed like he had a pretty good job. So I looked him up on LinkedIn, and, like, he actually had a great job.
Yeah, he had to have, like, before I feel like he wasn't as hippie and, like, earthy.
Right. But then, we never saw that because he had the shorter hair, like, super clean cut. And, you know, when I was on LinkedIn, like, there was a ton of, like, people that had worked with him or done business with him. Great stuff. People said awesome things. And then I think it all kind of went... He's been different. Remember when they did the hometown and then his dad kind of went off the deep end? It seems like he sort of has a rocky relationship there. And his mother... It was his mom that passed away or wasn't around anymore.
Something like that.
It was something. Mom wasn't in the picture for whatever reason, and that really kind of hurt. And really just, it seemed like it threw the whole balance of their family off. Mm-hmm. And I think that was really tough for Dean, not only to just, like,
that's probably why
have that happen.
His commitment issues.
Right. And then it's on TV, too, on top of that. Mm-hmm. Like, Dean is such a good guy, and he was super young then. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, he's still super young, but I mean, you know, he's had a few more years' experience. Like, you remember when things got a little tough between him and Rachel, and like he just didn't know what to say, and he just like was like, "What's your favorite dinosaur?" Like that was his like defense, like that was his first like initial reaction to like he was just like stuck. He's like, I don't know what to say. I'm just gonna ask you what her favorite dinosaur is. Mm-hmm. Dean's nomadic and kind of hippie now, but I feel like he's past asking girls what their favorite dinosaur is when shit hits the fan.
I think he's more just like in the moment and like you only have one life, so
I'm just gonna go with the flow.
Every single like opportunity that you can.
Yeah, he's like, I'm just gonna go with the flow. I really want to do this. People are gonna come in and out of my life. I get that. I kind of push that stuff away when people get too close, anyways. So I feel like it just fits him. But at the end of the day, like, I really feel like he wants to change at least a little bit because Kaylin makes him happy, and obviously there's a reason that he came back. Because she's enough to make him want to put the effort in. He doesn't know if he can do it, but
he wants to try.
He's willing to try.
I agree.
Okay, did we cover everything now?
I think so.
Okay. Thanks again, Kaely.
You're welcome.
Bye again, everyone. All right, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that Bachelor in Paradise recap with my good friend Kaely. Now let's go ahead and transition into my complaint of the week. Welcome to this week's edition of Complaint of the Week. And as always, the presenting sponsor, my therapist. So, my complaint of the week, the Cleveland Browns. I was going to do a Browns recap at the beginning of this, but I did the Fred McLeod tribute in place of that, so I moved the Browns to my complaint of the week. And I'm not complaining that they lost by 30. Yeah, it sucks. It was terrible. It was miserable to watch. It ruined my Sunday. Another Sunday in hell. But aside from that, what I'm the most disappointed in, what my complaint is about, is the maturity of the Browns team. And this really isn't a surprise. Like I mentioned, rookie head coach, very, very young roster. And the maturity comes from this. Yes, they had a ton of penalties, but like almost half of these penalties, a big chunk of these penalties were like personal foul penalties, the big 15-yarders, the stuff that you can control. Just stupid stuff. I look at Myles Garrett got a 15-yard penalty early on. He kind of got tied up with a blocker, and he just totally, and if he would have had his fist closed, he would have been ejected from the game. Totally just open hand right into the helmet of another guy. Yeah, you know what? He's hanging on you, but this is what teams are going to do all year. Tennessee was very smart. They were physical with us. They understood how to get underneath our skin, and they totally played the game, and it worked. And then you look at Greg Robinson trying to kick a guy. I don't care what they do to you. You can't try and kick a guy. And he got ejected, and he absolutely deserved it. And then Jarvis Landry. This was kind of surprising to me after the game. I know he's frustrated. He's emotional. After a big loss, all this hype, you're pissed off. You just got blown out by 30 in the home opener. But when they asked him, and I thought it was a very fair question because you see this around the league, more and more players are playing less and less in the preseason, especially if you are a significant part to the team, like Jarvis Landry is. And the question was roughly, Jarvis, you guys were very sloppy today, rusty, looked like there was some timing issues on offense. Obviously, there was a ton of penalties, both offensively and defensively. Do you think that has to do with the lack of playing time that the majority of your team had in the preseason? And Jarvis was very annoyed with the question and was just like, don't ask me that question. Why? Why not ask that question? Of all the dumb questions that get asked on the field right after a game or in the locker room, I thought this was a very fair question. And for him to be annoyed by that, I didn't like the maturity levels. Now Jarvis has been nothing but an amazing person on and off the field, appeared the same thing in Miami and now in Cleveland, obviously. But I didn't like this. I didn't think this was the best look. I didn't think it was a good look for him or the team. In between those three things, the maturity level, I didn't like it. And even if we had won the game, I thought those would be glaring issues and things that I wouldn't like, and it still would have been my complaint of the week. All right, so that's my complaint of the week. Enjoy this nice, smooth jazz, because that wraps up this episode of the Joseph Vore Podcast. Until next time, rate, review, and subscribe, and enjoy this smooth jazz.